It's mic'd up with Mikie Mahtook. Got the boys in. I got Lloyd. We got Mitch. We got Jackie Boyd.
He tried to jump up, and he might have knocked it in.
Good timing. Let's go. What a start to the Monday. I mean, I'm from Lafayette. My boys will come in and say,
oh, God. So me and Joe on the ground, I got Joe in the headlock. And he's sitting there, he's punching me in the stomach, like, punching me.
Here, is everyone saying around, who here thinks Ochenko can practice today after having 5 full beers? And he goes, Chad Jones, right? Chad Jones.
6 minutes.
For 7 minutes, right? Chad's like, no, man, I don't think Ochenko can practice today. And I was like, I look back, I'm like, Jesus Christ. I saw you there. You were more fucked up than me.
On the spirit plane had some issues, I think. She was sleep farting.
you heard her or you just thought it was her?
I sat right next to her. I smelled it.
Whoa. What was that?
Good show.
Now, when you do go to spring training, are you going to bring your chinchilla and your turtle? My dad told you about it.
The SEC is, God, they hate fat people. I mean, I get crushed for that. You know what I mean? It's like, come on, man.
Hey, just the South, bro. You got a bunch of food down here. Like, they should all
Players. Look at Lloyd.
You know what, Lloyd?
You're looking for a recruiting coordinator, coach. I'm here.
He's like, I'll piss my pants right now.
No way.
We're wearing gray pants, long gray pants. He goes, I'll piss my pants right now. Welcome back to Mic'd Up. Today is Wednesday, May 22nd. I've got a big show for you today. Obviously, a lot of LSU baseball conversation, a lot of SEC baseball conversation. The SEC baseball tournament is happening right now. I'm sure all of you have been very familiar with that because LSU is playing their best baseball right now in the SEC tournament. They win on Tuesday, 9:30 a.m. Early bird gets the worm. They win 9-1 against Georgia. They held down a potent Georgia offense to 1 run. Charlie Condon, who is the SEC Player of the Year, probably going to win the Golden Spikes, probably going to go top 5 overall in the draft, if not 1-1. They held him to 0 hits. They snapped his hitting streak, and then they go on and they played this morning at 9:30 a.m. against Kentucky, who is even higher ranked than Georgia, and they go and turn around and beat them 11-0 in that game to move on to the game 3 of the tournament, which is tomorrow at 4 o'clock against South Carolina, who's also playing really good baseball. So LSU going into the SEC tournament, kind of on the bubble. You felt like you were there in after a sweep, and I felt like, okay, if they put out a good showing. After they beat Georgia, you feel like they're really in. Now after beating Kentucky, you feel like there's no doubt that they are in. And now you're starting to creep into the conversation. If they go and they make a run, they win the SEC tournament, do they back their way into a host site? This is a complete fan question. This is, hey, let's a prisoner of the moment situation, not looking at the whole big picture, looking at what's happening right now. I don't know the answer to that. I'm not sure about that. We're going to talk all about it. regardless of that, regardless if they end up being a host, I think that they've put themselves into a number 2 seed position, and I think that they have put themselves in a position where if anybody sees them in their regional, they are not happy. I've been watching the games. Lloyd's been watching the games. This is me, live, mic'd up live from Tampa / Hoover / our studio at Indigo Papers in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Right now, you got just me and Lloyd. Jay Mitch is doing some finishing touches on the SEC Network stuff. Hopefully, he can join us at some point in the show. Lloyd, just me and you, homie.
What's up, boss? How's the home away from home?
I don't know. How are you feeling over there? I feel
Good. I'm lonely.
You're not in a good spot.
I'm lonely.
Yeah, you're the only one. Look, I'm in Florida. I'm in Tampa. I'm leaving, coming back tomorrow. I'm here for work, not mic'd up work, other work. Shows how dedicated I am, though, Lloyd.
That's right.
You know, we're making this thing work. In between some of the business stuff that I got going on, we make this thing work.
You know the difference between ordinary and extraordinary, Michael?
What's that?
That little bit of extra. That's what you're giving.
A little bit extra. A little bit extra. Jay Mitch is giving that little bit extra right now on the SEC Network. We're all making this work. We're having these conversations about LSU baseball because about 3 weeks ago, there was a lot of doom and gloom.
Dead in the water.
They were dead. Nobody, LSU, this is terrible. They're going to be the 3rd straight team to win national championship, not make the postseason. They're dead. They're terrible. They stink. What's going on? And look, to everybody's credit, they were not very good. They were talented, but they weren't playing well, and they were losing games. Then they go and they beat Texas A&M. All of a sudden, you're like, oh man, maybe, just maybe, because they're playing better baseball. They beat Missouri, and then they go out and they beat Texas A&M, and you're like, oh shit, okay, they're playing better baseball. Let's see what happens. And then they go, you think that they're going to go, we're talking a sweep, right, at Alabama. And they go, and obviously the first game was a disaster. They should have won that game. They don't win that game. And then they win game 2, and you think that, okay, I have a chance to salvage a series. Then you lose the series, and you're like, damn, we're in trouble. We haven't swept anybody all year. Ole Miss is coming off a weekend series win against Texas A&M. How the hell are we going to be able to somehow make it to the postseason? And then all of a sudden, LSU, like you mentioned on Monday, Lloyd, they crammed it in for the final exam.
That's right.
They popped an Adderall and they said, hey, I'm going to study for 24 straight hours and I'm going to figure out how to make this happen. I have an F. I have to make an A on this final to pass this test and get on to the next grade.
If I make it A, it brings up the D to a C. We're still looking at that 2-5 straight in the face. No worries, Mom.
You don't lose tops.
For every C I have, there's an A. It's going to be 3-0. We're good. We still got tops. Let's take it to the bar, boys. And that's what you've seen. And then you have the quintessential.
And that's what you saw.
Yeah. Then you have the guy that's done all the work in the group project with Jay, who's going like, I've been working on this all year. Where have y'all been? Everybody shows up at once on the final day for the group project. Goes, oh, we work pretty good together, don't we? It's like, yeah, let them do it their way.
It's crazy what happens when you put in the work and you say, oh, let's all do this thing together, right? And so it happens, right? They won. They swept Ole Miss. Now they put themselves at 13-17. You're like, okay, we think that they're in. We're not really sure if they're in yet, but we really feel like they've done enough with their resume. Maybe they need to win one game. They play Georgia, who's fighting to get a top 8 overall seed right now. They're definitely a top 16 seed. They're a host site for regional. You play them, they're probably the hottest team in the SEC at the time, and you go and you basically shut them out. You beat them 9-1, an offense who's not used to only scoring 1 run, and then you say, okay, now you're definitely in. You're playing Kentucky. Kentucky's having this magical season. They're doing the things that they need to do to be a national seed. You go and you absolutely crush. You curb stomp them, 11-0. It was 2-0. It got close. Luke Holman had no-hit baseball for 6 innings, did his thing, and LSU tacks on a couple runs. They get, they have runners on first and second, and guy throws the ball away. Now, all of a sudden, runners on second and third, 1 out. They say, oh, we're going to walk.
Huh.
Tommy White, because Tommy is doing Tommy White things. He's as hot as it can be. You put him on base. Jared Jones has struggled a little bit for the last, week or so. Jared Jones answers that with a grand slam. 2-0 turns to 6-0, just like that. Stuff that we haven't really seen a lot throughout the course of the year that we started to see over the last 3 weeks that we're really starting to see right now. grand slam, 4-run homer, makes it 6-0. You go back out there. Oh, actually, take that back. You don't have to go back out there just yet. Because Travinsky says, hey, don't forget about me. Last year I hit almost 600 in this tournament. And I was Mike Piazza last year. Don't forget about me. Next thing he does, he goes back-to-back jacks, makes it 7-0. Now you felt real comfortable about this situation. You go in there, you get up the next inning, then you get to the 8th inning. Tommy White comes up with the bases loaded, nowhere to put him. Oppo Taco, grand slam, 11-0. Shut it down, turn the buses on, turn the shower on, it's over, 11-0, 10-run roll.
Let's go.
Boy, they are
Cops.
playing some good baseball. Good baseball.
Great baseball.
That's exciting.
And I think that what, like, kind of a microcosm of the whole thing was seeing them walk. Tommy White, obviously, like you get the pass ball, it goes to second and third, first base becomes open, which opens the door, I guess, for if you were going to, I guess they were going to pitch around him in a sense, especially you only got one taste of it with the pass ball. But once first base became open, it became kind of like, I'd imagine that they're going to walk Tommy White here. But the thing that I saw that was most, like, that was so telling was Tommy White's reaction to Bear Jones being, like, going full 4-run homer. And Tommy White was more excited than almost Bear Jones was because he knew what it meant to him. He's like, I know you're struggling. They think you're struggling. Like, they want to load the bases for you, dude. Like, this is your chance to shut everybody up. And Bear Jones, with the blonde bomber, just went straight bleach to the dome. Hey, whatever it takes to get out of a slump, I'm for. And so you get him up there.
I think Milam did, the whole team did. Milam did it too, right?
Yeah, Milam did it early. And then apparently, so I was listening to Jay Mitch on SEC Now, and he had Bear Jones on and Holman. And they asked him about it, and he said that he and Milam had talked about it, and then Milam just showed up with blonde hair. He's like, well, you got to do it now. You said you would. And so they did it in the team hotel last night. Just put straight bleach on the dome. Straight bleach.
Worked out.
Yeah.
Worked out. They that was the Kramer Robertson type thing. That year, remember, everybody did it that year.
It's a baseball
this
staple.
This is the first time this has happened. Yeah. Not the first time it's happened, but no, they are doing the things necessary. They've obviously continued that momentum over the last couple of weeks, and I think it's starting to reach I don't want to say the peak, but they are at a position where it's like, hey, we're not just kind of getting by. Oh, maybe we're kind of about to turn the corner. Feels like they've made it 90 degrees, turned the corner hard. They're doing the whole Tokyo drift thing around there. They are doing some things, right? Playing really good baseball, driving guys in, moving guys over. Braswell at the top of the lineup has been awesome. Led off the game today with a home run, right? He's put together some good at-bats. He led off the game with a home run, then had an opportunity to drive a guy in and field back to 1 out, found third base, hits a ground ball at second baseman. Guy scores like winning baseball plays and, putting themselves in a position. Defense has been great. Obviously, Braswell didn't make the Buddha ball today, didn't come back to hurt him. But if you go look all the way around, Bingham made a diving catch in center field. Obviously, Larson had the ball against the wall in right field. Milo made the sliding throw and catch at second base. You've had plays all over the
Tommy White.
Tommy White, the bare hand coming in, like didn't think he had a chance, made a great throw. Like they're doing all of the things necessary to win baseball games. And you see what happened. They beat two teams who are ranked in the top 5 basically by 10 runs. So they're outscoring their opponents 20-1 in 2 games in the SC tournament. And so now you focus on the next game where they're playing South Carolina. I'm watching the Tennessee Vanderbilt game. Tennessee is down. They're losing to Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt's winning 7-4. So don't think it really matters for Tennessee. I think they're going to be a national seed, top 8 national seed anyway. So they're pretty much set up for a nice postseason run. But you see what LSU's been doing. They faced South Carolina, who's also a hot team, right? They're a team that also is trying to fight for, they're kind of on the bubble, trying to make sure that they fight for their spot in the postseason. I feel like they've kind of made their stance, and they're probably going to be in the postseason. But it's going to be interesting because this is Game 3 of the series, right, of the weekend series. The Game 3 that hasn't been too kind to LSU. So we'll see what happens. I think we all agree that Ackenhausen's going to start, right, Lloyd?
Well, we tossed around a couple of theories, and I think that one is it may not be Ackenhausen out the gate. You saw what they did with Dutton going 1 inning, and we talked about this after he did it last week, where Dutton's good as a starter in 1 inning, and then for some reason, like the wheels fall off a little bit. And so if they go that route, I wouldn't be surprised where you get Dutton in for kind of like an ode to Tampa Bay, where they have like a almost a de facto closer starter where they have some guy go through the lineup. Maybe if he can get through more. An opener. If he can get through it once, great. But I really do think he's been like a get you through the first inning guy, and you may let him throw a couple pitches in the second inning, but from everything that you've seen from him, it gets a little squirrely in the second inning. So you might have him eat one inning early, and then you see if you can go Ackenhausen for, 3-4 innings, and then now you're in the fifth, and you can go to Christian Little, and that's when you kind of start getting that revolving door. But they have all the arms saved up. You 10-run to team, and then you only had to use 2 guys in your first appearance in Hoover where you went Gage Jump, Griffin Herring. So I would be surprised if Griffin is ready tomorrow, but at this point I'm not surprised by anything because he's a gamer.
Here's the other thing, right? Griffin didn't throw today, right? He could be available tomorrow. If they're able to get through that game tomorrow and not use him, they're off on Friday. And that way, then you have Saturday, Sunday, and you're back into okay, you have now Griffin threw on Tuesday, off on Wednesday, off on Thursday, off on Friday.
You're
right?
back to
he
4.
Didn't throw today.
No.
Right?
No, it was
so
just
he'd
injury.
have 4 days rest.
Back to 4 days, and so would Gage Jump.
Yeah, right. And that's the other thing is Gage are they gonna want to throw Gage again over on that Saturday, right? Because they're not gonna. I'd imagine they're probably not gonna start Holman on Sunday.
Well, this is where you
if
get
they make it. I'm telling you, because now you have to worry about the regional.
right, and that's where you get into that territory of. That'll answer your question for you if LSU could backdoor their way into hosting a regional. If that were a possibility, I think you would see them go Gage Jump and then try to win. I don't know if you would go Holman, but you'll see a lot by how they manage the staff as if a 1 seed or a regional host is in play. Because if it's not, you've done everything you can to, I would say, if you win tomorrow, which you absolutely get to avoid Arkansas and Hagen Smith, and you get a South Carolina team who is in fuego right now. They're swinging the shit out of it. They have home runs every time you look up. So they're kind of playing that's like they're as hot as LSU is right now, at least tournament-wise, where they came in stumbling, but they found their footing, and they just flipped the script against Alabama yesterday and did the same thing today where it feels like it's going to be a fun game to watch. But for LSU, I don't know how much that moves the needle in terms of getting a host spot. If you're not going to host, then at some point you kind of have to start playing like the lesser of two evils and see what you want to do to get ready for a regional, because I guarantee you there's not one team that right now is looking at LSU and seeing like how they're playing in Hoover and go, oh yeah, let them come over to our regional. Can't wait.
I agree with that, right? What I want to see though for tomorrow's game is I want to see them. Hey, can they have 2 weeks in a row of consistent elite play on that third game? Because if you see that and they can do that, that means that now they go into a regional and a super regional potentially with, hey, we're very confident now winning 3 games in a row, or very confident with our 3 starters, right? We already know that Gage Jump and Luke Holman can beat anybody. I mean, they've proven that, right? Gage Jump has been, he has been an ace for the last 2 months. Luke Holman has been as consistent as they can be all year.
They'd give up a hit today.
It always seems like you look up every time he's in the 5th inning with no hits, right?
Yeah.
6th inning with no hits, like just efficient. He went 6 innings today, 100 pitches, no hits, right? So you already know what you can get out of those 2 guys. You saw what LSU did last weekend at home against against Ole Miss, right, with the 3rd starter, but it's still kind of a by committee type thing, and that's how it's going to be. Now, are these guys, are they going to find that formula for that 3rd game? Are they going to finally be comfortable in that and say, okay, we're going to continue to do this because now our offense is finally, it took 56 games, but they are hitting their stride. They are striding.
That's why you play all of them, Michael. That's why you play all of them.
It's impressive. It's special to watch what they're doing. And so now you say, okay, listen, if our guys can keep it tight and keep it close, on the mound, we know our offense is going to score enough runs, unlike they have been, early in the year on Sunday. So I'm interested to see how it works again, because it's worked well the last week. Actually, I'll say 2 weeks in a row, to be honest with you. You know what I mean? Like, they only gave up 4 runs to Alabama on that Sunday game. So it wasn't
and they had the lead in that game.
Right.
And that's what it feels like the Sunday formula is, right? Like you've been able to pitch it well enough on those obviously some of the past games withstanding where you're getting 10 runs, it seemed like every Sunday that you lined it up. But going forward and what you've had, it's been like, okay, the pitching's actually doing fine when you have like kind of a roller, like a Rolodex of arms that you're going through, like, I don't know, throw them. And they've been able to kind of right the ship, and then the offense wasn't ever there. But what you saw last weekend against Ole Miss, if they can do that, where like you get the big hits in the moments that you need them, and you put a run up, like put spots up on the board to like at least you can be competitive. You're looking for the offense to win you those games. If they keep swinging it the way they are, like Tommy White is ultra white. He's white hot right now, and there's just nothing. And he seems like he's coming up in spots where you can't really avoid him.
Hey, here's the deal. Today was his, 24th homer, 25th homer? Do you know?
Oh, but yeah, hold on. I have it.
I thought I lost you there for a second.
No, I was looking it up. I don't know. I think it's 24th. Yeah, Jones hit his 23rd,
24th.
and White hit his 24th.
Here's the crazy thing. We've seen Tommy get this hot before. And when he gets this high, it feels like the ball goes over the fence all the time. Does he get to 30 if they make a run all the way through the postseason? And even, like they have the SC tournament, like he finishes this, he's got a regional, he's got a super regional.
He's got at least 5 more games.
You got to get to. I think he's got to get to Omaha to do it. But that was my prediction. I said he was going to hit 30 before the year started, and for a minute there, I thought I was going to be way off. Looks like he's going to get close to it.
Well, we had a little bit of inside information at the beginning of the year when Tommy had, 2 dingers, and they're like, average is good, but he doesn't have the home run pop. I heard from a source very close to Tommy that he's like, boys, he's still 80%. Like, he's still recovering from his shoulder. And he's like, when he gets to 100, you'll know it. And then probably a week later, you saw this explosion of like, oh, there's the pop. And more so, I think it's translated on the defensive side. Like, you can see he trusts everything that he's doing, and like going down and getting balls barehanded. The arm strength he has at third has been very impressive. Like, I didn't know he had that. Like, you didn't see that last year. It was clear. It was clear he was pretty hampered by the shoulder. And this year he's playing 100%. And talk about make yourself some money, cuz like you're not going into a place where they're like, I wonder if he can field it. It's like, oh, he could play third every day for you.
Yeah, I think. Listen to me. If I think he's very solidly in the first round. I think he's played his way into the top half of the first. I think.
Yeah, I think
based off of what he's done offensively and showing how good that he has played defensively at third base. I mean, last year he was okay. It wasn't like he was a liability at third base. He made plays. It wasn't as good last year as he was this year, but we know why. That he banged up shoulder. Now he has surgery. Comes back. He's healthy. And he's playing lights out defense at third base. Like he is. I mean, he's one of the better defensive third basemen probably in baseball.
Yeah,
think about it,
dude. It's hard to disagree.
He hasn't made many errors.
And he makes plays that other third basemen are making right now, and so it's hard to.
He's got the arm strength.
Yeah,
plenty arm, and he's going to go 27 homers, 24 homers, 24 homers so far. Like, he's going to end up hitting 360, 370 for the year because he's hot.
Yeah, talking hot. He has 2 grand slams in 5 days.
Pretty good.
That's pretty good. RBIs are stacking up. That 100 clip last year he might not catch, but the man's doing all he can.
Where is he at now in RBIs?
Huh?
Where is he at right now in RBIs?
Let me find it. But I think a lot of this too is a testament to something that we talked about a little bit on Monday. But Broswell at the leadoff spot, I know he went Gonzo leadoff to start the game, and that's not really. It's only his second bomb of the year, but it's not that part that I'm impressed with. I think he just sets the tone for what you're doing offensively, whether it be a good at bat. Like professional at bats where he's taking pitches, he's swinging when he should. Right. Like it all looks good. Even when he comes up with
he's hot. He's hot right now too. He's putting barrels on balls. He's getting base hits. At the top of the lineup, all he has to do is get on base, hit singles. That's okay. Let's set the table for Tommy and Barrett Jones, and that's what he's been doing. Yeah, and look, and Jared's been saying it too. I said that I felt like Tommy was about to get really hot over the last couple of weeks. That has happened. I said that for LSU to go on where they need to go, the Stars have to play like the Stars, right? We've talked about this a lot. And, everybody, that's the truth, right? Jay says it. But in order for them to actually have the impact that everybody wants them to have, the other guys, the role players, have to go and do their job, and that's have good at-bats, get on base, play good baseball, do the things that we weren't consistently doing throughout the course of the year. And now, all of a sudden, they're doing that game in and game out, and it's like now the opportunities to have all these RBIs are there, and it's crazy how quickly it can flip, right? Because now Milo's getting on base, hitting homers, doing the things he needs to do. You have Braswell doing what he's doing. Travinsky's starting to get back hot. Obviously, Pearson's always putting up together good at-bats. Milazzo is working walks at the bottom of the lineup and getting 2 out base hits with RBI base hits. Like, all of those guys are starting to do the things that we needed them to do and set the table for the big boppers in the lineup. And it's you can see when everybody's working together and working right what the team looks like.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about Milazzo. Even when he was asked to get down a bunt, he couldn't get it down, but he still is able to move the runner over from second with just the ground out to short. Like, you put him in a hole 1-2 where he's like, all right, obviously I don't think they're going to keep the bunt on, and he's still able to do his job and get somebody over, where that's how I think the more impressive part of what LSU was doing, because what they rely on so often early in the year, it was solo shot after solo shot. It's you look up and you're in the 5th and you have 2 hits and 2 runs. You're like, oh, God, like that's not sustainable to rely on basically 2 guys to carry your offense with nobody on base. What I've seen and what they've done well is be able to get on, and then now it's not everybody's trying to hit the 8-run home run. It's like move it over. They're playing complimentary baseball and doing exactly what Jay has been like pounding his head against the wall asking them to do, is just play baseball the right way. Like, you know what to do. You get 2 strikes, like work it up the middle. If you have a man on third, you don't have to hit it over the fence. Hit it in the air. Like, they're able to manufacture runs now in a different way.
The crazy thing about that, right, to your point, sometimes, right, you need something to happen, or you need a change of environment, something, right, to like change your thought process. We talk about this a lot when, like, hey, when the wind's blowing dead end, sometimes you play better offensively because you know that you can't lift the ball and you can't try to drive it, so now you have to lock it in, low liners, do these types of things to try to eat the wind, or try to beat the wind. And then sometimes within those situations, when you're not trying to do too much, you end up getting a pitch inside and pulling the ball, hitting a low line drive, it ends up clearing the fence left field because it's, the wind's blowing straight in, you're able to cut the wind, right? So you go to Hoover and you're playing in this huge field that is not known to give up a bunch of home runs, and now you're thinking like, okay, we can't rely on that. Solo home runs and waiting for the homer, that doesn't work. We all have to put together good at-bats, get base hits, and work these counts. And you've seen them do that. You've seen them generate runs without hitting homers. And then whenever they do that, the home runs end up coming. The 2 grand slams. You had Milo hit the home run yesterday. Like, the home runs are going to come if you do the right things at the plate. And that's just kind of what. And look, another thing about it is that field's so big, right? So big. The outfield's there's a lot more space in the outfield. So sometimes some of those bloops that maybe got caught are now falling down because there's more room to run out in the outfield, and maybe the outfielders aren't able to get there. So all of that, kind of builds a little bit of the confidence. You see a couple balls start to drop, and then you just got to run with it. That's what it felt like. That's what it feels like they're doing.
There's a lot of
do you have the RBIs?
Yeah, 68. So that's a tall task to get to 100.
68.
But if you get to
I'm not saying he gets to 100, but if he gets to 80, like, that's a huge year. I mean, like 80 RBIs. Nobody thought he was even come close to 80 RBIs at one point this year.
No. How could you?
Right?
I mean, I think that's a fair
he's at
assessment.
68. I mean, I think 75 is probably a guarantee.
Yeah, if he stays the way, nobody's more upset that they're playing in the afternoon. I think it's, a 4:30 first pitch tomorrow against South Carolina?
I think so, yeah.
And nobody's more upset about that than probably LSU. Like, let's keep this thing rolling at 9:30.
Yeah, we like that. We like
that early.
We like doing this.
Like the early tea time does.
No doubt.
But
love that. Hey, get the tea time out. You can do some work after. You know what I mean?
But it'll be exciting for them to be in there, and I think the crowds will probably be a little bit bigger for an afternoon game. But LSU is fair. I mean, they're pulling a Maneri. They're pulling a Mikie. Your legion of ball wherever you go to the SEC tournament. It's like, hell, why don't we just go win the whole thing?
I mean, that's the LSU Invitational there for a little bit. 2008, 2009, 2010. Three straight champions there.
Home away from home.
Away from home. So we'd have a chance to four-peat.
I think you would have made it this year.
We would have made this. Listen, the crazy thing about it is their numbers are the exact same. Now, obviously, we didn't get to tournaments that do this, but like they were 36-20, and they were 13-17 in conference. And it shows you where the league is now and what they look at, opposed to what they did back then, right? And it's good for them to be able to have that, be in that situation. Good for them for the SEC to be that strong, and then now good for them to go into the tournament and make this run and show, hey, we definitely do deserve to be in there. And your little 3 seed that you had us in Stillwater, you may want to go and revise that because it don't look like we're going to be a 3 seed anywhere. We look like we're going to be a 2 seed somewhere. And I'll hope that it's not an SEC Super or regional. I hope that they put us in like a regional without SEC teams. Do you agree?
Yeah, dude. That, like I said, whenever they have this selection show, and I'd imagine that maybe the boys will show up for this thing because at first there wasn't there was no press release for a regional selection show because you don't want to see your name not pop up on the screen and have media there. But it feels like now that the Tigers are firmly in, there's going to be a very different reaction from what you see on the LSU side in Baton Rouge and the Champions Club versus whoever sees LSU pop up in their regional and go, oh, fuck. It's like it'll be Michigan seeing Alabama come across the screen for the playoff. We're like,
right.
We're the first. What are we doing here? We fought all year to be the 1 seed. We get the 4 seed? Alabama?
Right.
And it's going to be a lot of people. Like if it's
worked out.
It did, but you can't tell me there was a happy person there, whatever, like, oh. This is not nearly as fun as we thought it was going to be.
No.
And that's what's going to happen if you see that purple and gold flash across the screen and you're hosting a region, you're like, okay. This is not.
Yeah, after watching them dismantle. I mean, listen, let's get back to that conversation. Because how up to date does D1 baseball update their website?
I can check right now, but they said in the chat that they very rarely, if ever, put 2 teams from the same conference in a regional together. So you won't see SEC.
In a regional,
SEC,
right.
So I mean, imagine super regional. Obviously, you play to get there. So that becomes I don't know what they would have to do for a host site to fall to LSU in a super regional. I don't know who would have to lose. We have to wait for the bracket.
Well, you'd have to see the brackets,
right?
So.
Because LSU was on the doorstep in Jay's first year of that happening. Whenever they won in Eugene, right? They won the regional at Oregon. They go to Southern Miss, and wouldn't they be able to? Wasn't there a chance for them to host?
No. They didn't go to the regional. The regional was in
Southern Miss.
It was the regional at Southern Miss.
Yeah, that's what it was. And if they had won, the higher seed had lost, so LSU would have ended up hosting the Supers, right? And LSU wins the first game and loses 2 straight.
So going into this game, right, LSU was 36-20 going into the SEC tournament. Then they beat Georgia. So they're 37-20 overall. Their RPI going into Kentucky, which Kentucky going into this game was the 3rd overall RPI. So LSU's RPI going into the Kentucky game was 26th. So they went from 30th to 26th. Now, they just beat the 3rd RPI team. You would imagine that they're probably going to jump another 2 or 3, maybe 4 spots, right? Mississippi State is still up there. I don't know what they did. They win today? They win today? Or they
haven't
lose
played.
yesterday?
They haven't played yet. Mississippi State beat Ole Miss in a walk-off.
No, they haven't played. Yeah. Mississippi State won in the walk-off. That's right. And South Carolina is 18th in the RPI. Alabama's 19th. So, Vanderbilt is...
They're playing great baseball right now, too.
Yep, Vanderbilt's 24th, right? So, LSU has a chance. I don't know what's going to be after this game, but LSU has a chance to shoot up the RPIs, right? If they continue to keep winning in this tournament, you're going to only continue to play RPI teams that are ranked higher than you. And so you have the ability to keep winning, and your RPI continues to jump. If they win the tournament, their RPI could potentially be in the top 15, top 16.
What does that get you? Are you trying to lobby for
a conversation?
You're trying to lobby for a host spot right now?
Think about it. This is best case scenario, right? They're 30-20 right now. They play South Carolina tomorrow. Right? That's one more game.
And that's
And
an
then off on
RPI of
Friday.
18.
They have to play Saturday and Sunday. Let's say they win those 3 games. What?
South Carolina's RPI sits at 18 right now of the up to
What'd you
the.
say?
South Carolina's RPI is at 18 of the up to the
Right.
minute. LSU is at 21 right now.
Right. So you are going to continue to play these teams that are are ranked higher than you, right? So you go and you win 3 more games. That means you are now 41-20 overall with an RPI that's probably in the top 15. And you just won the SEC tournament. That sounds like a host resume to me. You're going to have an above 500 record against RPI top 25 or top 15, whatever it is, after the tournament.
So whose host spot would they take?
When I posed that question, right at the beginning of the year, or at the beginning of the show, it was more of like, oh, I don't really know, because we talked about it off here. Is this a possibility for them to do this? Probably not, but like it's fun to talk about. And now, like looking at the numbers and seeing what they're doing, if they go and they continue to do this, yeah, I mean they have a chance. Think about it. Out of the 16 hosts, is it 16, right?
Yep.
16 regional, 16 hosts, top 16 hosts. Out of all of those, you have a chance. Like, there's 5 teams, I think, that are 13 and 17.
Yeah.
Or 6 teams in the SEC that are 13 and 17. So the other 5 or 6, the top 6 are going to be hosts. 7, I mean, Florida's out, probably. They're probably not going to make the postseason. I mean, you probably could have 8, half those through 7 teams host. So, you go and you run through all the rest of those 13 and 17 teams. I mean, Vanderbilt's obviously fighting for a host spot, right? Like, they probably, they have the head-to-head over LSU if anyone's gonna get the host because they beat LSU. I mean, it's not unreasonable, right?
Well, and
Am I just saying nonsense here?
And the way this thing's going, LSU could match up with Vanderbilt in the tournament, and if they beat them there, then it kind of. Like, I don't know how much stock they put into tournament play. Like, obviously, I get it from an aspect of LSU's fighting for its postseason life at the beginning of this thing, going back to, I guess you could say, the Ole Miss weekend. And then it turns into, wait, is LSU a host site? That's the part that I'm struggling with, where you go from, they're first 4 out. I don't think they're going to make the tournament. Actually, I think they should host the regional. I just don't know if they can make that flip in their brain.
I still think it's a long shot. Don't get me wrong. Like I do. I think it's a very, very long shot. But the fact that they're 21st in the RPI right now, they're going to have to play Vanderbilt again potentially. They're playing South Carolina, like you said, who's 18th in the RPI, right? Vanderbilt is 24th, which if Vanderbilt beats Tennessee, who's 5th overall in the RPI, their RPI is going to jump. So that's 2 more games against teams potentially that are extremely high. Who else would they have to play? I don't know. I mean, someone else, right? Another team that they play is probably, Mississippi State's still in it. There's other teams in there that they could potentially play that are ranked higher than them in the RPI.
Yeah, Texas A&M, Tennessee, Vanderbilt, Mississippi State are all.
Yeah.
Vanderbilt's below you in the RPI right now, but that's the only one that's lower than you in RPI. So, like you said, there's definitely...
Wait, Vanderbilt's lower than you?
Yeah, Vanderbilt is 25 and LSU is 21.
Oh, well, it's because they haven't...
Right.
It's
not over yet. I don't know if they'll jump LSU, who's jumped 9 spots since the tournament started. I don't know if they'll move that, but either way, you're jostling with 2 top 20 RPI teams, essentially, at that point. And so if LSU's able to get a win over Vanderbilt, maybe it washes that away. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see for this regional to play out, see who steals a bid. If somebody doesn't win their conference tournament that's supposed to, how all that thing shakes out. Which feels good is that you don't have to worry about bid stealers anymore, because that was a high priority on the list of, okay, if you lose your first game to Georgia, let's see if somebody wins Dallas Baptist, tournament, then that's another spot you have to fill, and LSU could have been on the outside looking in. Now they're firmly in, like, no doubt about it. And so you can kind of sit back and
I don't think they host.
And me either.
Now, If I'm going with my gut right now, I don't think they host. But I'm not saying that they can't. I just don't think that I don't think it's going to happen.
Well, and the other thing that you have
They'll
to
be a very high 2 seed then.
Yeah, I think that's the conversation they're having on D1 baseball is have they done enough to move up to be a 2 seed? Because right now they're slotted as a 3. If they do move up to a 2 seed, yeah, I mean.
They have done enough. Get the fuck out of here with that.
Yeah. Well,
they're the 21st RPI team right now.
They just beat Georgia and Kentucky.
They just beat Georgia and Kentucky. They're 21st RPI and they're 38-20. Get the fuck out of here, dude. That's a 2 seed, if not a 1 seed. You know what I mean? Like the debate should be, hey, if they win the SEC tournament, are they a host, not a 2 or 3?
And I think it can. There's probably room for that to change where they would entertain the question, because as this thing bears out, like it went against y'all, I would say your year whenever y'all missed the SEC tournament and it became, oh, we got to keep LSU out because it's LSU. We can't just let them in on past experience. They are national champions. It feels like that script has been flipped where it's like at least how it usually went was, well, you put LSU in because LSU draws. It's a college baseball, like it's 1 of 1 in college baseball in terms of fans, what you get. Like that's why they would let, LSU be like, let them host.
Well, so to your point, I get what you're saying. You can't just give it to them to give it to them.
Right. No, but I'm
if
saying
they're
that
on the bubble, if it's between them and like, oh, the resumes are very similar, you give it to them. You give it to LSU because of what you just said, right? They draw really well. They're going to draw big crowds. The energy is going to be great. It's going to be a place where people want to go and watch a game, or at least watch it on TV. And so that, that it would be if it's apples to apples. You just say, okay, what's going to separate them? They should host. Like if it's between LSU being a host site or like
North Carolina State.
Iowa. I don't even know whoever it is, right? Like LSU should get that nod. I'm biased, obviously, but I would imagine if they look at that, I think LSU would get the nod.
Which leads me to everything that you've seen this year, and this is a conversation that's also been floating around on the internet. Better coaching job, Jay Johnson this year or Jay Johnson last year? Obviously, it culminated in a natty, but the team that he had, I feel like the deck was
People were hating Jay Johnson 4 weeks ago.
Oh, he was at Orgeron. Look at him resting on his laurels. He wins a national championship, feels like he doesn't have to coach. Now it's, maybe not. Maybe not so much. Better
coaching job. Like it's, I think last year, obviously you won the national championship and you were able to, you had 2 superstars and they were very good leaders and you didn't have any injuries. Like that's a magical season in the making. Obviously ended up that way. This year you had a bunch of new guys. You did a bunch of things, and I think you did a really good job of coaching. I think there's probably things that if you could go back and do it all over again, you would do differently early on. But being able to keep these guys bought in and locked in, and hey, there's still a lot of hope here. Like we still have a lot of things to play for. Don't give in, don't give it up. And these guys grinding their way through all of that. And now putting themselves in a position to make a run. Yeah, that's a great coaching job, and I think there's a credit to him. I think it's also a credit to the players. It's a credit to like Tommy White and the leaders on the team of saying, hey, listen, we're not just gonna cash this thing in and go home. Like we're gonna figure this thing out. We're gonna make this thing difficult for them. It felt like once they swept Ole Miss and they felt like, okay, now they have a good chance and they're in the tournament, and that it's almost like they were climbing up that hill. Right, the whole year, and there's a lot of pressure. They knew they couldn't do anything wrong. They knew they had to win almost every game, and they finally swept. They finally felt like they could exhale, and they got to the postseason, and like nothing else matters now. And it almost feels like, okay, now we can have fun. It was miserable there for about 4 weeks because everything was so stressful, and now we finally did. We clawed back. Everybody better watch out because now we can have fun. That's kind of what you feel.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, because you had so much kind of set up for you last year, and I know that he did have to tinker and make some adjustments. Like you even saw it, we referenced this earlier, where you had Cade Beloso lead off for you in Game 3 of the College World Series, where it's like, okay, maybe. And
right.
He was still making those type of adjustments, but this year it felt like he didn't have enough ingredients to be able to make anything that was edible, and now you look and he's got a quiche ready for you, and it's like, okay, this guy can fucking cook. And because of some of the people, like, I don't think anybody expected Milam to come in and start as he did at second base, never give it up. Like, that wasn't going to be his position. You had Pearson playing second. Like, okay, we'll figure it out along the way. Milam just becomes too good to ignore. Then you have Larson come in as they still have a revolving door at center field. I think you have to start Brown tomorrow. I really do. I think he can cover enough ground in center, at least give you competitive bats. Because Bingham's up there, I mean, he's swinging a popsicle stick. And it's no hate, but it's just every time he gets up there, it doesn't feel like it's anything positive is going to be the outcome. And so, like,
yeah, he's struggling right now. He's swinging full axis.
Yeah, and that's the kind of things that, I mean, Jay's been known to make adjustments. That's something that he's probably going to look at, and I wouldn't blame him for doing it. But that's the last piece of the puzzle. There's two massive pieces of the puzzle. I would say this is smaller than the next one I'm going to bring up, but if you can solidify somebody in center just to get hot for a month, like if you could just get goofy hot and like you don't even have to know what you're doing, but go out there, bring energy, play well, and you don't know what you don't know. And it feels like with both Bingham and Kling, they're too far down the hole to be able to retrieve. Like they're in a dark spot where they don't want to really be in the batter's box right now, which everybody's been there. So just start throwing fresh blood against the wall and see what sticks. The other thing, and this is a lot coming from the chat, is would you entertain the idea of Thatcher tomorrow since it's double elimination, you have one to play with?
Hey, you saw him in the pen today.
Was he?
Wasn't he in the pen right next to Guidry?
Oh, yeah, he was. They just never came out. Yeah, Guidry just locked it down in the 10-run rule, but good to know he's getting hot.
So, yeah, I mean, listen, we've talked about that all year. He's been buried on the bench. He's been struggling. He hadn't done the things he needed to do, or he hadn't pitched well. But he's unbelievably talented.
Yeah, it's a drug that's hard to quit.
This is the time last year he got super hot. Does Jay throw him out there tomorrow? He's gonna get a start before Cade Anderson gets a start.
No doubt. And I would.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm tempted to put him out there because of like they said in the chat, it's like you have double elimination, you have one to play with, you don't really necessarily see yourself being able to play yourself into a hosting spot for a regional.
Right, that's a very good point by the chat. Look at that.
Well, I added that last part, but withstanding.
Oh.
Yeah. Cool at chat. But with that, like, if they're not going to be able to host a regional, you have to find out at some point if you have a third starter or if this is the way, because this doesn't, as much as it's worked with Johnny Holstaff on Sunday, you have to have somebody, right? Like, don't you feel like you need a solidified starter?
Yes, I agree. Let me ask you this, though. LSU wins tomorrow, right? They beat South Carolina. Whoever starts, I don't know. Let's say, I don't know. It doesn't matter who starts. They win tomorrow. They're probably 18 in the RPI, 19 in the RPI. Do you feel that at that point Jay really thinks that he's going to be able to host and like then starts managing differently? I mean, we talked about that, but like the more I think about it, I mean, shit, if he's going into that game and he wins tomorrow, he's now 39-20 and he's going to have a teens RPI with the potential to play two more people. Now do you start playing to
pander
to host? Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, he's gonna have to have a real decision to make. I don't know who you talk to, but like, look, boys, y'all let me know. Like, is this even feasible? Like, because in Jay's mind and everything that he said at the podium, he's like, we're one of the top 15 teams in the country. In my mind, that basically can be we should host because there's 16 hosts. That seems like he's like trying to drill it in your brain. Like, we're one of the best teams in the country and we're playing our best baseball right now. If they come out of the SEC tournament winning it and looking like the way they are, if it goes like this, where they're putting up 10 runs every game and holding people to no runs, and you're like, oh, shit. They almost become too good to ignore, and it becomes a story where it's like, what's the last thing I saw? LSU run through the SEC tournament, and it's like, well, it would really be such a bad thing. Like, it's almost a good story. You can spin it to a positive. Like, look, that's what you can do if you get hot in the SEC tournament. That's why we play the thing. They earned a host spot by going and winning their tournament, and everything that happened previous in the year and the way that they've lost games, like, I feel like you can all spin that into a net positive. It's like, look, I know that the league record isn't what it was, but they atoned for those sins by winning the SEC tournament and doing it the hard way. Like, you've gone through Georgia and Kentucky. It's like they had a favorable draw. They're the 11 seed.
Right.
And so you've gone
Right.
through Georgia and Kentucky, two teams that I don't think they would have picked LSU like Vegas did. I did, but I feel like if you look at it, like, all right, this is a fun story. LSU can get out now there in the tournament, but if they're looking to host, that's a conversation that Jay has to have with somebody to be like, what are the chances? Is it worth me going and trying to get to the weekend tomorrow with Nate Ackenhausen and Sam Dutton, or vice versa, however you want to do it, or just Nate Ackenhausen? I do think it's going to be Sam then Nate, but that's when he's going to have to start making decisions of like, all right, Griffin, you've thrown back-to-back days before. All right, if you're in a tight spot to be able to get to where you can get days off and throw on Saturday, then Gage Jump goes again. Like, he needs to know all of that stuff because I'm either playing to win somebody else's regional or playing to host a regional. And also don't know if it's worth it to host a regional. If you start looking at Gage Jump, Luke Holman, those are your two guys that give you a chance to win a series. You don't want them going on fatigue.
Yeah, because God forbid, right, and God forbid that you play the Thursday, Friday, Saturday regional. Right? Don't they do that?
I think they do a pretty good job.
Or is it all Fridays?
I think they do a pretty good job of like.
Is it all Friday, Saturday, Sunday?
I think it's all Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I'm
And
pretty sure.
I think it's Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Saturday, Sunday, Monday.
Yeah, and so that's what I'm saying. Those are the questions you have to have answers to. Like, how much rest are we going to get if we go all the way to the end of the SEC tournament, win the thing, and then regional play starts when?
Super regionals or regional?
Regional.
Regional, that's what I'm saying, either Thursday or Friday. I don't know. I forget if they do a Thursday or Friday, Saturday on the regional, or if that's only in super regional sometimes, or they do Friday, Saturday, Sunday, then Saturday, Sunday, Monday. I don't know exactly how it works.
Okay.
I forget how they schedule it.
So,
but to your point, same thing, right? Like, you don't want them to be on short rest going into the regional.
right, that's what I'm saying. That's what I was on Monday's show. That's what I was kind of putting the option out there as to how many games do you want to win? How do you want to prepare for this? Because regional play looms large, and it's more important than winning the SEC tournament. But if there's the caveat of you hosting a regional, does that trump just going to a regional with all of your arms stocked, or do you want to run the risk of being able to host and then you look at it and go, okay, this is a better spot. We're at home. We didn't have to travel. The rest days add up. Everybody gets to, like, it's almost business as usual as opposed to going to a place you've never been, travel, and dealing with all that. Like, all right, let's stay in Baton Rouge, play at home, and then Gage will be fired up because you got the home crowd. All of those things play a factor. Regional play starts May 31st through June 3rd, so Friday through Monday.
So so I guess the Mondays if necessary.
Right.
That makes sense. And then the super regionals are Thursday, Friday, Saturdays, and then Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So it's going to be interesting. I think we're going to learn a lot tomorrow after the game on what we're going to expect to see for the weekend. But regardless, LSU is going to put themselves either in a host situation, hopefully back end it, or they're going to put themselves in a 2-seed. I think they've put themselves already in that 2-seed spot, and we'll see. But they got to play tomorrow. They play South Carolina. South Carolina's a hot team, and LSU's going to have to continue to do what they've been doing: timely hitting, getting guys on base, scrappy at bats, and then the pitching staff has been lights out. They got to continue that. It's going to be a little bit more. They're going to throw more arms tomorrow than they have been in the last couple of days, but the guys that they're going to throw have been throwing well, so we'll see if they can continue it.
Yeah, I think the question that looms largest is, which we'll get an answer to, is what happens tomorrow will determine whether you see a Thatcher Hurd appearance, which it might be tomorrow or it might be the next day.
I'm kind of looking forward to that.
I think we all are, and it might be we look forward to it until about 12 pitches in when you have 3 guys on base and he hasn't thrown a strike, or it's mows them down. You're like,
or
okay.
he's 7 innings, 11 strikeouts, 2 hits. I'm like, Jesus.
There he is.
Yeah.
So I'm saying
Wow.
The man,
welcome back.
Yeah, the man just wakes up in May. That's all you need to, like, roll the rock away, poke him up, and be like, hey, Thatcher, your time to shine, buddy. He's like, okay, season started.
Time. Okay, I'm back. Okay, thank you.
And I would love it nothing more if that's who he is.
Yeah.
Sign him and call him in October if you're a professional baseball team. He just needs to get heart rate needs to get a little up.
No doubt.
And
No
so
doubt. We'll see. It's going to be exciting, though. 4:30, though, you don't have to wake up early. You can watch the game after work. Yeah, have a little happy hour. Watch the game at happy hour tomorrow on Thursday.
Maybe at Thursday place.
Yeah, maybe at Dozy place. But speaking of that, I don't know if you have a mistake of the day. I didn't come ready for the segments. So I was going to do, since this was kind of a special only SEC baseball, SEC tournament talk, I was going to do a special where we don't have one. But if you have one, Lloyd, go for it.
I do have a mistake of the day.
There you go. Brought to you by our friends at Dozy Place.
By our friends at Dozy Place. Go to the Crown Room, get you a cocktail tomorrow, watch the Tigers play. There has been a rampant cause, and this is for men, so check your testicles, because now there's a report that microplastics were found in 100% of male testicles in recent study. So these are a very 100% of males have microplastics in their testicles.
Or the ones that they've tested.
Huh?
The 100% of the males that they have tested.
23 people went in for this study, and all 23 came back with microplastics in their junk. And so the reason they're getting microplastics, which is apparently a very common cause of cancer, which is, no big deal. But the way that you get it, Mikey, this is for you, the Fairlife chocolate milkshakes, like the little protein shakes, have 20,452 micro shards of this plastic in them.
So the actual milkshake, like the pre-made protein shakes.
Yeah, the high protein core.
No, I don't drink that. I don't drink those.
Okay.
Well,
don't start. So it's things like that. Slim Fast has 16,000. Yoplait has 10,000. Whole Milk has 10,000 plastics. Ben & Jerry's ice cream 6,000. All down the list, all the way to butter. So watch what you eat, I guess. But this is a law. This is just another way that the government's trying to kill us off. It's microplastics in your scrotum. So be safe. Know what you're eating. And if you want them, I just hope they don't come out hope they don't come out in any form or fashion. Because I only know one way out of that place.
So. And that would not be good.
It doesn't seem like it's
hopefully it's a flawed study.
Yeah, well, hopefully they just stay in there.
Yeah,
I'm not trying
Nothing
to.
happens. You don't get
I don't want a
cancer.
kidney stone of plastic.
Yeah, that would not be good. That would hurt. That's all I got. I don't have a curtain call, Lloyd. If you have one, you can bring it on for the team.
No curtain call today.
No curtain calls. Curtain calls to LSU for playing lights out baseball right now. Keep it up. Continue to do it. Continue to grind. Hopefully they win tomorrow and they keep this run going. It seems like it's the start of something special, and it makes postseason baseball a lot more fun when LSU's in it. So we will be back live on Friday to recap tomorrow's game, and hopefully LSU will be off on Friday, and then we can really have a conversation about it, not have to worry about watching the game or doing whatever on Friday, and then we can enjoy it on the weekend. So enjoy the rest of your Wednesday. Game one of the Western Conference Finals is today. Game one of the Eastern Conference Finals was last night.
Oh, that was my curtain call. Awesome. I did have one. I already put it in the document. Curtain call, speaking of, is to Minnesota and the state of Minnesota, who put out a proclamation for the Western Conference Finals. And I don't know if you heard Ant whenever he was talking to Charles Barkley, whenever he's like, I don't remember the last time I've been to Minnesota. If I've ever been there, he goes, get your ass. And
yeah, get your ass there.
And then the state of Minnesota released an article. Oh, it's bring your ass. And the first letter of all of these, like of the first word, it spells out bring your ass for people to get off work. So everybody's in on it. I love sports stories like this when like the whole town gets into it, when you see people that haven't won anything in forever, and like it's just the culmination of like, I think we're here. Like we don't win ever, and now we got a squad, and it feels like the Timberwolves should be set up for a good run as long as they have Ant healthy. And it's just cool whenever you see, like, I got to do it a lot with the Cubs whenever it was like, maybe. And then it obviously ends in a horrible fashion. But that one time you get it done, when you go on the roller coaster of emotion, like you're blessed to be an LSU fan where it always seems pretty good. But to be in the cellar and then have a chance to peek up at the attic is always a time in sports where you're like, this is why you do it. It's not that much fun to be good all the time. You got to have that climb every now and again. And that's where Minnesota is, and the whole town's in on it.
Yep, no doubt. It's fun to watch. They're a fun team to watch. I'm going to be watching the game tonight, obviously, and then I'll be watching LSU tomorrow. So we'll be back on Friday. Enjoy the rest of your Wednesday. We appreciate you. If you like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, if you don't like watching us, you like listening to us, or anywhere you get your pods, hopefully on Friday we'll have the whole squad back together, still virtually, or one of us will be virtually. I'll be back in town and in studio with Boys, so he's not as long. Enjoy the rest of your Wednesday.
Bring your ass.
See you on Friday. Peace. Bring your ass.
Bring your ass. Peace. Thank you all.